What's going on, everybody? I am back here in my garage with another video for you. Today is Valentine's Day, February 15th, 2024. And on January 5th of this year, 2024, I removed my bed from my van. As you can see here, which might be tough to tell on this lens, but what we're looking at here is a very crooked bed frame. So what's been happening here in the last couple days or so, two of my linear actuators are not working. And now I have two more failures. So 2 years of working great and getting my bed lift up and out of the way every day. But I think it's time to upgrade them and install some new actuators. Because my bed lift system had failed. Two of my cheap linear actuators decided that they didn't want to work anymore. So I'd originally taken two of them out and opened up the motor and fixed the motor as best as I could, but there were some issues going on in there, and the actuators only continued to work for a couple days before they failed again. So I removed them completely. Actually, I removed the bed completely, and the actuators are still in the van. But I've been sleeping in the van for the last 6 weeks here at my brother's place in Denver, just on the bench I have downstairs, which is what I call it, downstairs, the lower level. And I'll show you guys that in a little bit. But I've been sleeping in there just comfortably and just fine. But I'm about to take off on a road trip, and I wanted to get my bed lift working again so me and my dog can be comfortable in there together. And so what I did is I did some research, and I ended up picking up 4 new linear actuators and some other supplies to rebuild the lift system in there. And if I do this correctly and I planned out everything the way I think I did, then I shouldn't have any issues with the bed system failing in the future. Let me show you guys what I picked up. So what I have here in this box is 4 brand new linear actuators and some cable. And I already pulled one of the actuators out and set it over here to show you guys what the new ones look like. So this is a similar to what I had before, but much beefier. They are sold here in the United States from a company known as Vergelli, which is based up in Washington State, I believe. And this is much beefier than the ones I had before. So this is a 30-inch stroke actuator, and my previous actuators, the ones that are currently in the van, are 26-inch stroke. However, the ones I have in the van are actually mounted on this bracket here, about 4 inches off of the floor of my van anyways. So this being 30 inches and those being 26 inches, I should be able to just mount this directly on the floor, and it'll give it that much more support, and it should still provide me with according to my calculations, all of the lift that I need. Actually, it'll provide more lift than I want, and I have a solution to fix that, which is what I'm going to show you in just a moment. But the actuators I have in the van actually have, they have 2 wires, and this new one has 5 wires. Now there's a reason for that. The ones in my van do not have optical feedback, so there's 2 wires for power only. This particular actuator has 3 additional wires, which is for the optical feedback, and what that means is that these 3 wires, or 3 of these wires, will send a signal to this control box I bought from Vergelli as well. So yeah, how this works is you can send 4 linear actuators to this device, one here, 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 and here, and then I believe this one is for the power, 12 volt power, or 24 volt power, and then this one is for a switch. So you send all your actuators to this device, you send 12 volts to it, and then this is actually an LED screen or LCD screen, and that will power up and gives you a bunch of settings to play around with. But ultimately, what this will do is allow me to send a signal to each of these actuators, and it will automatically make sure that they go up and down at the same rate of speed, so there's never any tweaking. I did have tweaking in my previous build with those actuators I bought, because each one of these will go up at a different rate of speed. So over time, you're bringing the bed up and you're bringing it down, and you don't bring it up all the way and you don't bring it down all the way, then they're gonna go up at different speeds, so my bed would be tweaked in different ways from corner to corner. And the only way to really make those work properly was to extend the actuators all the way out until they hit their limit switch and turn off themselves, and all the way down and hit the limit switch and turn off themselves. Then they kind of are readjusted or recalibrated, and then they would go up better. But over time, you know, I think I just stressed out the motors a little bit, and since they're cheap actuators from Amazon anyways, they just didn't hold up. But they did hold up for 2 years, and they worked really well for those 2 years. I really have no complaints about those. But what I want to do is put in some new actuators here that will never fail on me, so I don't have to deal with this, because dealing with the bed lift and pulling the bed out and the bed frame and redoing these all the time and fixing motors on them is kind of a pain. and I'm kind of over that. That's what I'm going to do here in this video, guys. Today is I'm going to show you as much as I can about how I'm going to install these new actuators. And I mentioned installing these directly on the floor. So how I'm going to do that is with these mounting plates. So Fratelli sells these mounting plates, and these actually go on the bottom here like this. So that gets removed and this gets mounted on, and then you have these 4 holes here that will let you mount directly to the floor. So I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store and pick up some lag nuts to fit in here that I will be able to put on with a socket wrench, and they're gonna go directly into my subfloor. But the first thing I need to do before I do any of that stuff is get in my van and remove my bench and remove a couple other things, hopefully not too much stuff, and then I'll be able to work on getting this stuff installed. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the details about how I'm removing stuff from my van, and I'm also not going to bore you with the details of the very first thing I have to do after that is done, which is running new wire. So this is wire I bought on Amazon, and it's 5-core wire, same exact gauge, but since I need 5 wires, I have to rerun wire through my van to this module here. So I'm not going to bore you guys with removing all the stuff out of my van and preparing it for the install, but what I will do is probably show you how I'm going to install one of these actuators on the floor, and then I'll do the rest of them. And when they're all installed and I have the wires ran, I'll kind of show you guys how I'm connecting them to the control module and how it all functions when it's done. All right, so let's got one of the actuators out here. I'm going to kind of go ahead and show you guys what this one looks like. So back here, the one with this zip tie, this is the old one back here. Just comparing the motor size, you can tell it's smaller, it's not quite as beefy, and the bottom portion here, where all the gears are and whatnot, way thinner than here. This is where this one starts, and this is where this one starts and ends right there where that line is. So we're dealing with a much thicker, better actuator. Now if I line these up to the same distance kind of like that, and see how much bigger this motor is, how much better that's going to be. All right, so I have my panel here unbolted and kind of hanging out a little bit, but what I'm gonna have to do here is disconnect a few things to get back here and get my wires ran. Hello. Great. Scammer. I have a snake here, this green one, and if you're not familiar with a snake, they're used to run wires through tight areas easier because they're like, I think they're made out of like a fiberglass material or hard plastic. So it has this little metal end on the end, and can you see that? I need to run this through my panel up here, through the back and down there, and then I'll be able to connect 2 wires to it that I have in that roll right there, and then I'll be able to tape them to this piece once it's ran down there, and I'll be able to pull them up easier. It's going to take some work, and I don't want to bore you guys with it. I'm just going to go ahead and pull my drawers out here, guys, so I can get back there and not have to mess with this and be such a pain in the ass. So now I should be able to grab that cable from this side. Yep. All right, guys, so I got my 2 lengths of wire cut out, and I have them labeled rear passenger and front passenger. I think it's getting close. That was actually, oh, see, I lost them. Shoot, the tape fell off. All right, time to redo it, guys. Pull the wire back out and retape them and try it again. All right, so some of these snakes, depending on which one you have, I guess, actually come with this little like loop-de-loop thing. So I decided to move the casing from the wires and put it through this loop. That way I can tape these together like that and should have less of a chance of them falling off before I get it where I want it snaked to. As you can see here, I have the 2 cables running through. Probably should have gave them a little bit more length, but I don't really want to have to buy another roll of that if I don't have to. All right, guys, so I have the controller here in my hand, and I have 2 actuator wires for this side here we've been working on. Ran up here and connected to where all of they go according to the wiring diagram right there. I'm going to set this controller inside my cubby here carefully, and then I'm going to be able to connect the actuators down here to the other ends of the wires. That way I can power them up and I can plug that in, and then I'll be able to see if I can control anything with it. Hopefully you can see this okay. But I have the wire coming from the controller here with 5 Wago connectors. It's kind of a cluster of connectors here, but blue to white, that's right, black to black, green to green, yellow to yellow, red to red. So those are all connected, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of toss this down here for now. And now I have this actuator connected to the cables running up to the control box, which is tucked up in there. And I have my other cable for the other actuator right here. And that'll reach to this side. So I'm going to go ahead and strip these wires, connect the Wagos to them, connect it to the actuator, put this actuator in, and then I'll go ahead and connect my 12 volt to the controller box up there and see if it powers on, and put the fuse in first. Make sure it powers on, and then see what I can do about getting these actuators to move together. The controller's on. Check it out. I have power to the controller. I was just playing with it for a second, but I didn't have one of my cables connected properly here. It was in the wrong slot. So I reconnected it to the correct slot, and let's go back to manual operation and say retract. It's acting weird. I'm not too sure. Extend. So I got to set all this stuff. It says actuator set, length, speed, unit, limit, home. It's got timer operation. You can do, I'm not going to be using the timer at all. And then it has system set to set the timer, the buzz, stuff like that. I'm going to be using it with a button that I'm going to connect eventually. But right now it's on manual operation. If I click extend, it's not doing anything. So I'll have to play around with this, but this is about as far as I can go tonight. At least it's hooked up. And I'll have to see what's going on here, what I'm doing wrong. I should have all this stuff connected right. Black, red, white, yellow, green. Since I have some stuff to do, I'm going to call it a night for tonight. And tomorrow I'll play around with it and get these things working and whatnot. And then we'll show you guys what's up with it. But so far we're off to a good start. I have one moving here all by itself. I have another one moving here all by itself. I just have these two set up, but I'm running the calibration mode right now. After reading some instructions, you have to calibrate them first, so they're getting calibrated by going all the way up and then all the way down, and then they should move up and down at the same speed. Right now it says calibration, please wait, encoder is calibrating, actuator will extend and retract. So we're gonna let that happen, and then I might mess with the speed and see if I can't do it any faster. This one, now they're all the way up, they should go down by themselves. And they're going down. Alright guys, so right now I have my bench put back in here, and I was messing around with the actuators and the controller, and it's working pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I actually set it to stop right where you see these rods stopped. I said 2 inches. They are stopping where they're supposed to, which is good. That's what I want. And they went up where I want them to go. So that's all I really have for tonight. I need to take my dog to the dog park. That's his daily routine, and I'm already running behind. So I'm going to go ahead and get my bench back here. Then tomorrow I'm going to work on the two behind the workstation here and get those wired in to the controller, and then I'll be able to get the bed back in here. So I'm going to finish it up doing what I'm doing. I got to get out of here, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, well, it's a new day today, and I haven't got much done because I had to run out and get some supplies to finish up this job. But when I was in my van here last night, late last night, I decided why not try to run the wires for the other side of the actuators, and that's exactly what I did. So let me pull off this panel here, and I'll show you. I have them tucked behind here. So I have these two wires. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do this easily or not, or at all, but these are the two wires here for the other side of the actuators over here behind the workstation. And I was able to feed them up through the ceiling, and then through my cabinet up here, I was able to grab them and then feed them back behind the refrigerator and down behind that drawer. And that is my composting toilet that slides out, and they are currently sitting back there. So I need to work them to this actuator over here. Let me turn on a light. I need to work them back to this actuator back here and to the actuator over here. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to get rid of this workstation here and get access back there because it's tight. This side's a little easier because I can remove the composting toilet and go under there and deal with that one. But this one is in a really tight spot. So since I'm running out of time today, I don't think I'm gonna do that today. So instead, I'm going to take you guys in the garage and I'm going to show you what I came up with for the linear bearings for the 80/20 aluminum, which are right here, which slide up and down. I came up with a new idea for those and mounting the linear actuator rods to them. So let's go inside and take a look at that. And I'm gonna get those mounted in the van today, and then I'll probably wait a couple more days till this weekend, because tomorrow I really got to get back on the workstation to get some real work done. And this weekend I'll have time to remove this desk behind me and get everything prepared. I'm gonna have to remove the desk. I'm probably gonna remove this cabinet underneath here. There's this cabinet with sliding doors, which isn't a bad idea because I have to trim these doors a little bit because they expanded over time, I believe, and they're a little hard to open. So I'm going to trim them a little bit and make those easier to slide anyways. So once I get this cabinet out and my workstation desk out of here, then I'll have a lot more access to these. It'll be a lot easier to do. But for now, let's hop inside and take a look at what I picked up today. I'll give you an idea of what I'm going to do. So this is one of the linear bearings for the 80/20 that I just showed you that slides up and down. So what I did yesterday was I used a step bit, one of these, to try to countersink one of these holes in it. Kind of made it oblong and weird, and that didn't work so well. So this is aluminum, so it's soft metal. So I was able to use a bit like this one to actually make this hole right there. And it's a lot cleaner looking. And then I went out today and I picked up some stainless steel machine bolts, which look like this. And I'm gonna be able to take those and put them in this hole, like so, and make it flush. It's not quite flush yet, I have to drill it out a little bit more, but I can make that flush. That way there's nothing protruding from this. This will slide through the actuator rod like that, if that makes sense. And then on this side where my thumb is, it will be flush, because before what I had was I think it's called a lag bolt. I had a lag bolt here and with a hex head on it, and it was protruding out. And so my bed frame had to sit above that. So now I'll be able to bring the bed frame down to the bottom of this here, if that makes sense, right there. Because this will sit flush when it's mounted. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and drill this out and get it flush. And we're going to go get these mounted to the rods inside of the van. It's pretty good. So now we have this bolt in here that's going to go mount to the rod, and it's going to be flush on the top. Okay, so let's go head inside and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so that's the top of the rod, and this is the linear bearing. So what I want to do is I need to stick the bearing on here. There we go. All right, now the bearing's on, setting right there, and then we're going to put the bolt through here and through the actuator rod, but I can't do this one-handed, so let me go ahead and do this, and I'll get it bolted up and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so turns out the bolts I bought aren't going to fit through the top of the rod, which is this piece. But I can drill this out, so I assume they would fit in here because they're actually quite a bit smaller bolts than I had previously. So I need to go drill this out so it fits, so this bolt fits through there, and then we'll get it mounted up. And I'm going to go ahead and drill that hole out a little bit bigger. I already have a drill bit ready, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of tap magic to it so it doesn't get too hot and ruin the drill bit. And go ahead and drill her out. Uh-oh, kind of figured that was going to happen. All right, I don't have it buttoned up yet. It's kind of tight up there, but as the actuators go to closer to the bench down here, it creates more room against the wall. So I'm going to go ahead and manually operate these and retract them more. And you'll kind of get an idea of how this linear bearing's working here. And I'm going to let it go down about another 10 inches or so and stop it. And then I should be able to get my fingers back here on the other side of the bolt, if you can see it extruding there, and get the lock nut on there. All right, I got it all bolted together here. So I got the actuator here bolted with the countersunk bolt here, and I have a washer on both sides of the rod and a lock nut on the other end of the bolt, if you can see that. Not that it really matters to you, but it is there. So this is basically how it's going to work now. So as I was mentioning, I want this to be flush. And that way when I get my bed frame mounted back onto this, there's going to be a bolt that goes through this hole right here into the bed frame on all four sides, of course. And that's going to be enough to support it. That's how it's supported it for the last 2 years. But with this being flush, I can now have the bed frame on the bottom half, because this is 3 inches and the frame is 1.5 inches. So now it can be all the way flush to the bottom here. Before, it started at the top and went to the halfway point. So that's going to give me another 1.5 inches that I can bring my bed down even further, which will give me more leg room, because the closer the van gets to the bottom of the van and towards the floor, the wider the van gets, the body. So I'll be able to get a little bit more out of it. Right now, you know, I'm 5'10", and I think I have about 5 feet and 8 inches of space to sleep, so it can be a little cramped. I have to kind of sleep on a diagonal or curled up a little bit, but if I can get this bed lower, then I'll have a little bit more room. Hopefully this will work for that. With all that being said, guys, I showed you how I hooked up 2 new actuators, how I ran the wires to the control box, how the control box works a little bit, how I connected my linear bearing to the rod, how I sunk the bolt into the linear bearing, how it goes up and down. That's basically how it works. I need to do it 3 more. So I need to do it 1 more time on this one with the linear bearing, and then behind me, I need to install the actuators and do 2 more linear bearings the same way. And then when I get all those things done, I'm going to have to bolt all of the linear actuators to the floor with some bolts I bought yesterday. Once it's all said and done, I'll give you guys an update and show you how they're all working and syncing together like they should be. And then the next step after that, and the final step, will be getting the bed frame back in here and mounted back up. So that'll be the next part of this video. Stay tuned. Well, that's never easy, but I got the workstation desk out of here. As you can see, in case you're wondering how it works, I actually have some 80-20 pieces here, and this is a linear bearing just like I use on the slides over there. And then I have 2 more bearings mounted to the bottom of the desk, which one slides on this one slides on this one, and then there is another piece of aluminum like this on the bottom of the desk, which slides in here. So since they're in opposite directions, for example, this linear bearing is facing this way while the other ones are facing down, they actually ride inside these channels and they hold the desk on there securely, and it slides pretty nice. I do want to upgrade this to some actual slides. I just haven't done it yet. But this is working good for now, so I'll probably just keep it until I decide to do that. But right now, what we're working on is getting these new linear actuators installed over here. The problem is mostly on this side, because I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see this, but I need to get all the way down in this little crevice to get my actuator installed down there, and it's going to be difficult to do. So what I'm going to end up doing here is I'm actually going to remove my outdoor shower, because this is my outdoor shower right here, right there, and I'm actually going to remove it, and I'm going to cut those water lines and cap them off and get those out of here because I really don't need them in my way. And I'm going to be redoing my shower, and I'm actually going to be mounting it to the outside of the van below that's my composting toilet. So on the outside of the wall of the van, I'm going to end up running the shower outside that way. And so I'm just going to get rid of those lines. And yeah, that's what we're going to do here today. This should be fun. Trying to get this actuator down there. So I'm not going to bore you guys with all the details, but I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff removed, and we're going to get installing on this actuator. All right, guys. So I did all this off camera, but I thought I'd show you. I ended up removing my cabinet there, which is laying over there, and I ended up removing my composting toilet and pulling out the drawer slide. I was going to remove that, but it's a little bit more work than I want to deal with right now. So anyways, I ended up cutting part of this black panel off here, and the reason I did that was for a couple of reasons. First of all, I also removed my shower and stuff, my outdoor shower. My outdoor shower was mounted there with all those holes for running pipes and stuff. So I removed the shower, and this is the panel I cut out because I'm going to be replacing it anyways, since there's a bunch of holes in it. So I'll set that over there, and I can trace that later and get a nice fit back in here. But the other reason I removed it is so I can access this actuator a little bit easier, because there's just no room to get in here and really deal with that. Now the problem I've run into is this is the plate for mounting the actuator to the floor, and it won't fit in here. Well, actually, maybe it will. Okay, maybe it will. Back here, I tested it over here on this side before I removed the panel, and I couldn't get it to fit in there, but it looks like it'll fit in the back, so that's going to go down there and get mounted in. But I have to get this actuator removed first, so let me go ahead and get that removed, and then I'll catch up with you. Brr, it's getting cold out here, and I'm got distracted with something else, but let me show you guys what's going on here. So I got the old actuator out from back behind there, and I cleaned this out with the air compressor. This is the base plate for the new actuator, and I tested that, and it will fit in there, so that's great. Now I just got to go put this on a new actuator and get that actuator installed in here. So let's take a look at what I got going on over here. Whew, it's getting cold though. Not sure how much longer I'll be able to work. All right. All right, to get this installed is pretty simple. Just got to remove these 3 screws, and this comes with new screws that are a little bit longer. Right here, and that's going to get screwed onto there. And just like that, the base plate is on. I got the wire undone here. Let's go put it inside. This ain't gonna exactly be easy, but we'll do what we gotta do. All right, just checking the orientation here. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'm not sure if it'll fit in here with this hose in the way. Oh, there we go, it'll work. All right. Let's take a look. And there we go. Got the actuator back there. Now, before I can bolt it to the floor down there, way down there, you can see the base there behind the stuff, hopefully, right there. And you can see that hole in it. I need to screw into that down there. I'm not sure I'm going to get all of these screwed in. I'll probably only be able to do 3 of them. But up here, I have to get my linear slider, or linear bearing, I guess is what you call it. Up here. And I need to get this lined up with that. And shoot, I'm gonna have to go backwards with these because I got a hose in the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one installed, guys, off camera, because there's not a whole lot I can show you. And I'll show you when it's done. Wow, it's getting cold outside. It says it's 53, but it's definitely colder than that. Now that I have my wire ran over here, this is the wire ran behind the water tank, I'll be able to go ahead and get this side wired up, and I'll be able to do that actuator over there without the door open. So why not turn the heat on and get her toasty in here? So I'm gonna go ahead and get this wired up, it's right here, to the other wire, which is down here. And then I'm gonna install this other one tonight. I'm gonna get the linear bearings installed, get everything set how I want it, get them connected to the controller and get them working all in sync, and then I will end up bolting these to the floor tomorrow most likely. I'll get the other one installed, I'll get everything done here, and then I'll show you kind of how they all work together with the controller, okay? Probably not tonight, probably tomorrow. And today is a new day. It's Sunday, and I have a lot to do today. But as you just saw in that little hyperlapse there, I have all of the actuators in and synced up. So we have one here, we have one here, all connected to the linear bearings. We have one here, and we have the last one over here. So yeah, they're all synced up to the module, and I went ahead and installed a switch, just one switch now. And by pushing this, they all start going down at the same exact time. And as soon as I let go, they stop wherever they are and push it back up, and they go back up. Let go, and that's it, they stop. So I'm pretty pleased about that, having one switch to do the whole thing. And once I get my bed in here and get everything back together, I'm pretty sure I'm going to replace that switch with a just a toggle switch. Push it down and walk away and let the bed go down to its set location based on where I set it in the controller box, and then push the button up and let it go up, and it'll stop where it's supposed to stop there. The only thing I have to be careful about is when I let the bed go down, I need to make sure that everything's out of the way so it doesn't crush anything, because underneath the bed here is where my workstation is, or will be, again, when I put it back in here. And my monitor will be up here, my computer, so I gotta make sure everything is put away and out of the way so the bed can go down freely without creating any issues like that. But I have a lot to do today to try to finish this up. The first thing I need to do is bolt all of the actuators to the floor. I haven't done that yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those bolted in off camera, because there's really no reason to show that. It's in pretty tight areas to do that, and you guys get the idea. I'm just going to be bolting the actuators to the floor, because if you don't, for example, this linear actuator, when it gets up to the top here, it gets really tight against the wall, and if I don't bolt the actuator down and this gets stuck, or the bed gets stuck up here, it'll actually just lift up the actuator from the floor if it's not bolted in. So I'm going to get all that stuff bolted in. I'm going to take my bed frame apart. As you saw earlier in the video when I removed it with my brothers, we removed it all at once, and the idea was that I wouldn't have to like put it back together, but I've decided there's some changes I want to make to it. So I'm going to be taking it apart and installing it in two pieces inside of here and redoing some of it, and we'll talk about that in either this video or another video. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this stuff, and I'll show you guys what things look like once I get the bed frame in here. Hey guys, so here is my bed frame. It's going to go in the van now. I reconfigured it and made it lighter, and hopefully made it stronger. These panels here were the panels that were underneath the bed. This one was like underneath this way, and it had some lights on it like that. And this one was also on it up here with some lights on it like that. But I pulled those off. I don't think I'm going to reuse them. I am going to use some shiplap like this though, but I have a different idea for how I want to light everything under the bed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my bed installed in the van, but let me show you exactly how this is going to work so you guys can see this okay. So right now it's in two parts, and that's the easiest way to get it in the van, and it's also the easiest way to get it out in the future if I have to do any repairs on anything, or if I need to haul something really tall and I need to get rid of the bed for a weekend or something like that. So right now it's just kind of like sitting here, but It's in two parts and it's kind of pressure fit together. And this top part comes off here, like so. Then we're left with this bottom piece. And this bottom piece is going to go in first. So once this gets inside the van and mounted to two of the actuators, I will be able to get the other piece over here in and connected to this piece. So what we need to do now is, oh boy, this is going to be interesting to say the least. But these are 80-20 nut inserts, and they slide right in the side here of the 80-20 like so in these channels. So I need to grab two bolts with these, and inside the van here, starting on this side, this is where I'm going to start putting the bed in. I'm going to run a bolt through this hole on the bottom here, and this nut insert's going to come out like this. Then I'll be able to bring the bed in here and lift it up and get it into this channel, or get this into the channel of the part of the bed, and then tighten this down from behind. And with that done, I'll be able to do the other side. I'll come over here and put the other side of the bed in here, get it in, get the nutsert in the channel on both sides here, and then I'll be able to step back here, and I'll be able to lift both pieces up from both sides and slide them together and bolt them together with everything that I have prefabbed right there. So I'm going to go ahead and go find some long bolts that'll work for this, get them in this side of the linear bearings, and then we'll bring the bed in and try to get that installed. It might be difficult to do myself, but luckily I have a friend here to help, so we'll see if I can do it myself or if I need his help. All right, so I found the bolts. I think these are the ones I was using before. These are just hex head bolts, same thread of course, and they're in there, and that is the nutsert, or whatever you want to call it, nut insert. I grabbed a small piece of extruded aluminum and I made sure that they'll slide in there like that. So essentially I need to try to do this side and that side at the same time and get the bed in here and get it up like this, and then I'll be able to tighten that bolt enough to keep it in place. So I'm going to set the camera down over here and go grab the bed and see if it's possible to do on my own. I guess we'll find out here in just a minute. There might be some cussing. All right guys, so this is the bed piece, bringing in, and I just have to try to get these nuts in here. I got my tool in my back pocket. This is not going to be easy, one person, just by myself, but see what I can do. It's going to be impossible. Yeah, I think I'm going to need some help. I'll go grab my buddy. I got a buddy over here, Mark. He's going to help me try to get this bed in here. So this is what we need to do. You want to step up here? These two black nuts here slides in this channel right here. Same with my side. So I'm just going to do my side. You just got to try to slide that in this outside channel here, and then hold it there, and I'll tighten them, and then that'll be. So just got to like try to do it together, because otherwise mine's kind of in. I'm holding it in place. Mine's going to slide in. I'm not sure if it's too tight. If you want to back out the nut one spin the other way, maybe it'll fit in there better. Cool. All right. Okay. Now it comes up like this. Just for now, hold that there. And I'm going to slide it back on both sides. I'll just do this side first. I'll tighten this one real quick. This is going to be so much better with this setup. That's good enough for now. I'll jump over here. All right. Okay, that should be. Okay. That should be enough to hold it. Well, not once I'm going to hold it straight up, but you can let go of it now. It's going to slide down. If you have 2 more minutes, got it in, and it's just going to sit here like that temporarily until we get this side in, and then I'll put them together. So, all right, you see that? Bed frame's up. Now, it's hard to see just because there's so many slats, but that's the frame, and it's now connected to all 4 linear bearings, which are connected to all 4 linear actuators. And what I have to do here now is come in here and make fine adjustments. So, for example, you can see this little gap here. I need to fix that by loosening these bolts a little bit so I can just kind of slide everything together. So I'm going to loosen everything up, slide everything together, and as you can see here, this piece is hanging down, but it's going to get mounted flush like that. Same on the other side. And I have a handful of bolts here to put in to get this thing all together and sturdy. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then I'll come back and we'll show you guys what the bed looks like, the bed lift looks like, and how it functions, because I'm excited to see how it goes up and down. So let me get this all buttoned up, and then we'll do a up and down test. Well, got the bed in. This is going to be nice to have my bed back. All right, there it is, guys. My bed is up right there. Takes about 1 minute and 20 seconds or so to go up and down. But here's the underside, which isn't too bad. Let me show you how much headroom I have here. So I have a good, probably a good 10 inches of headroom, which is more than I had before. The bed didn't go up this high on my last, it was like double stacked. Basically, this piece I added here for support was underneath for support. So it actually came down another 1.5 inches. So it's much closer to my head. So this is gonna be nice. And what I'm gonna do with this is, I'm going to install some LED lights that go all the way around the perimeter of this thing, and they'll be indirect LED lights, and then I'll drop a ceiling probably 1 inch or 1/2 inch from this. I'll have a drop ceiling here, and then the lights will be kind of illuminating everything under here on a dimmer switch. So that's the plan. I'm not going to get to that right now. I might include it in this video, but I haven't quite decided yet. This has been a project over the last week or so that I started doing this. I'm happy to have it done and happy to have the bed up. So for now, what I'm gonna do, let me show you the bed from this side. So there's the bed way up there. And when it comes down to right about here. Very nice, very happy with the decision I made to upgrade all of the actuators with a control module. And I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff cleaned up inside the van because I have work to do tomorrow on the computer. I got to get the workstation back in place here. And I'm just happy I don't have to sleep on that bench tonight. I get to sleep back on my bed. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up. And when I get the desk in and everything and get my bed made and all that, I'll give you guys a little preview of what it looks like again. So, and perhaps in this video, like I mentioned, I might get the bottom of the bed. I call it the bed ceiling. I might get that together and add that in this video. There you go, guys. A little quick hyperlapse. Figured I'd throw that in there real quick, showing you me cutting out the beams. But let's take a look at what we got going on here now that the beams are removed. So we have this whole section now. Back up a little bit. We have this whole section here that is going to be recessed back about 3 inches or so. And like I said, I wasn't too sure how sturdy everything was going to be. It's not perfect. It's better before I cut these beams out. But once I get everything mounted in here, it should be just fine. So that's what we have for tonight. I'm gonna clean up my mess here, get all the wood out of here, get this moving blanket out of here with all the sawdust, and I'm just gonna go to bed like this tonight and see how it feels with the extra leg room. And as I mentioned, I will keep you guys updated, but this is gonna be part of the whole bed lift video, I guess. So last night I was showing you this hole I cut out in my wall. Let's take a look at it now. So that's the hole I cut out, and I slept in the van last night with the hole cut out, and I gotta tell you, it was a lot better night's sleep, more comfortable. My feet were touching the fabric back here. This is the thin slit insulation. They were touching it a little bit, but definitely made for a more comfortable night. And as you can see, the hole's still there. What I did today was, off camera, I came in here and I kind of framed it with these 1x2s kind of around the edge up there, as you can see, and then up the top and around the side. And I just used a air nail gun and attached them to the paneling here. And I've been working on creating the box inside the garage. Let's go take a look at that real quick. I forgot to film this, so just kind of showing you guys where I'm at right now. But I actually I've been repurposing these boards. These were the boards that were hanging underneath the bed, and those were the lights, and that's the switch there that I would switch on underneath the bed by the workstation and have some light down there. But I think I've mentioned it already, and I'm going to be redoing that portion of the bed anyways, so I figured why not repurpose this, and it actually is going to turn out pretty good. It's going to turn out pretty good because I've cut that wood down into this small piece here, and I've started to create the sides. So this is one side sitting here glued and nailed down, waiting to fully cure and dry, and then I have this piece here that's going to go here, and I have the final piece which is going to go, that's upside down. But yeah, you get the idea. That's going to go back there. And then I'm going to have this box. And this box is going to go in that hole in the van. And with that framing that I added, that I just showed you, I'll be able to nail this to the framing. And then I have some scrap trim over here, these little pieces here, that I'll be able to use to flush it out. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other side glued and nailed there and let that sit for a little while, and then I'll take you guys inside and we'll get this box installed and nailed in and get the trim on, and we'll show you exactly how it looks. But I'm pretty pleased. It's gonna work out pretty good, and this is gonna give me an extra 3 inches. This is 3 inches, sorry, hold on. This is 3 inches deep here, so it'll give me 3 extra inches, which will give me a total of 6 feet 1 inches of sleeping area. And then I'm going to perform the same task on the other side of the van, and that'll give me another 3 inches. So we're looking at 6 foot, what is it, 6 foot 4, is that right, 5 inches. So let me go ahead and get this box finished, and then we'll put it inside the van and I'll show you guys what it looks like. And this should fit right inside. Let's see if it does. And it does, look at that. So anyways, I just thought I'd end this video here by giving you guys a quick update. I'm sitting on my bench here, and this is behind the workstation. I have the monitor slid over there right now. But as I had previously mentioned, perhaps, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, that I was going to do a cutout on that side as well. So I got that done a couple weeks ago, and I've been sleeping in the van here for a couple weeks now. And it's been really nice. It's a totally new experience being able to sleep completely straight without my feet rubbing up against the wall or bumping my feet on things and waking up with a sore foot. So yeah, I got that side done. The one behind me is done. So between the two of them, the two cutouts, I have about 6 foot 4.5 inches of sleeping room. My bed comes down to, let me show you. My bed comes down to about here, and this is about 12.5 inches high. So when my bed's here, level with this, I have plenty of room for my feet to kick around inside the cubby behind me, or here, depending on which way I'm sleeping. And yeah, I have 6 foot 4 inches and a half, 6 foot 4.5 inches. So it really, really helps a lot, and I'm really happy I did it. And as you can see, the bed is up right now. I haven't done anything with the bottom yet. That'll come in a future video perhaps, or maybe I won't do anything about it at all. I just didn't have time to do it before I hit the road, and that's where I'm at right now. And it's been a really, really nice upgrade to have so far. Everything's working great. I haven't had any problems, and I love being able to just hit the switch over there and have the bed go down and have the bed go up without me standing there holding the momentary switches for it. So anyways, guys, I got to hit the road here. I am in New Mexico, and my phone died last night. It wasn't on the charger correctly, so I got up kind of late. I got up at 9 when I was planning to get up at 7:30, and it's about 10 o'clock now, so we got to hit the road. I got some hours to drive today, and we'll see you on the next video right where this one leaves off.